This is Akin, aka Jack is the Truth. I'm delighted to be joined by the legendary Bob Arum. How you doing, sir?
Really good, really good. Thank you for having me.
I'm always inspired every time I see you because you're so passionate about what you do, and you're here after hours longer than anyone else, still taking on questions. So credit to you, sir.
Thank you. I really enjoy being over here. Great fight fans. The backbone of really the sport. What's accomplished here over the last few years is something that I would never have believed while I've been in the sport. The people over here, the fans, have made boxing a really major sport in this country.
Bob, I have to ask you whether you're aware that you've set off a chain of events that we're now calling the loophole with the WBC. Mauricio Suleiman was on our show recently talking about Lomachenko, and that you had petitioned on his behalf to fight the champion, and he was now mandated to fight for the vacant WBC slot against Luke Campbell. Did you know that loophole existed?
Well, I don't look at it as a loophole. Loma, who fights for Top Rank, had the WBO, WBA belts, and his goal was to unify the titles. Now, we knew when Mikey Garcia vacated the lightweight championship that title was vacated. So we looked for provisions that would allow us to petition both Loma and Top Rank, petition the WBC to make Loma a contestant for the vacant title. And we found those grounds, and we sent our petition in, which was referred to the executive committee, who overwhelmingly endorsed it. Now, if you're the WBC, you want to get the best fighter in the division as your champion, and Mauricio recognized that, and he knew Campbell was the number one guy, and another Olympic gold medalist, and so he made that for the vacant WBC title. But Eddie should be happy about that, because if Luke Campbell is his fighter, as he says it is, Luke, if he beats Loma, not only becomes the BC champion, but picks up two other belts, the WBA and the WBO. So what's to complain about? I mean, I know what he's complaining about, but he won't admit it to Campbell, is he signed a fighter named Haney, who's a pretty good for a young fighter, and he's assuming that Haney beats Campbell, and therefore he makes a huge fight with us in the United States, Loma against Haney. But that isn't right. We felt in the Loma camp that this was a great opportunity for Loma to be able to fight in the UK, which is a dream of his, having won his second gold medal here in London at the Olympics. And he told me that when he went to Manchester recently to see his colleague and fellow Olympian Usyk fighting in Manchester, the fans really mobbed him. Everybody knew who he was. So he's been after me to fight in the UK, and this is the opportunity. And in fighting Luke Campbell, he's fighting a very, very confident and competent fighter who had life and death with Linares, who Lomachenko was lucky to beat.
I think the fans will be happy to hear that fight is being talked about on these shores. If I can take you back to the loophole, and you mentioned Eddie Hearn might not be happy, but if you think about something else that Mauricio Suleiman said was that there is precedent for allowing a champion from another sanctioning body to fight their champion. That, for example, Adonis Stevenson was mandated to fight Kovalev, and Kovalev was their champion, and he was mandated. I was thinking, why do we have to go through the problems of trying to negotiate the super fights? Why can't Eddie Hearn just petition the WBC that their champion should be mandated to fight the WBC champion? Do you think that's something that could potentially happen?
No, but that's not a bad idea. There's no provision in the rules to allow that to happen. There should be. It'd be good. Be good. The plethora of champions that we have now are ridiculous. There's not only champions in each division from each of these organizations, but there's now interim champions and regular champions. That's not good for the sport. But clearly, when there's a vacancy, under the rules, the right thing can be done. And the right thing was to take this amazing fighter who has 2 belts, Lomachenko, and put him in with the #1 rated BC guy, and that's Luke Campbell, who has 1 Olympic gold medal, and to make a super fight. And particularly since there's not an argument of where the fight should be, the U.S. or the U.K. Everybody says the fight belongs in the U.K., and we're agreeable. We want it here. Now we're going to get a date, a television network, and I think the fans are going to be grateful to see 2 fighters like Luke Campbell, and I think one of the great fighters I've ever seen, Vasyl Lomachenko, go at it.
Do you think if Lomachenko does come through this, a potential fight with Devin Haney down the road isn't something that you're looking at right now? Because you said that's something that you think Eddie Hearn might be upset about.
Well, Eddie Hearn knows that if Lomachenko beats Campbell, would have 3 titles, he'll go after the IBF champion, whether it's Comey or Beltran or Teofimo Lopez, and that'll be 4 champions. And then if Haney has proved himself, then Haney would certainly be a viable opponent. But right now, Haney has fought nobody. I mean, let's be honest about it. He's fought nobody. He may be a very good fighter, but is he better than Teofimo Lopez? I don't think so.
Bob Arum, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for talking to the Boxing Voice. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, just I'm really pumped up. I can't wait for the big guy, Tyson Fury, to arrive in the United States and really do a tremendous PR and publicity drive for him. I mean, he will be the most recognizable athlete in the sport of boxing in a very short period of time.
Feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.